Hi everybody, this is Darkstorm, Comic Reviews here, and we're finishing up my rankings for all those Spider-Man movies. This will be part 3, and it'll be my final part. If you want to watch the other 2 parts, you can. Just to catch you up on how the ranking system works, I'm going from best to worst. And Spider-Man, the original one, Spider-Man 1 is my favorite film, going to number 1. I gave it a ranking of 10 out of 10. My second favorite Spider-Man film is Spider-Man 3. I gave that a ranking of 9 out of 10. My third favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man 2. I gave that a ranking of 8.9. My fourth favorite Spider-Man movie is actually Venom, and I gave that a 10 out of 10. And my fifth favorite Spider-Man movie is Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I gave that a ranking of 9 out of 10. My sixth favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man No Way Home. I gave that a 9 out of 10. And my seventh favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I gave that an 8.5 out of 10. So now we get to the part where the quality for the Spider-Man films kind of starts to die down a little bit. And we get to the ones that I'm not a huge, gigantic fan of, with the mediocre Spider-Man 2. So I'm kidding, of course, but I do feel like, or the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I do feel like this movie, it really isn't that good in my opinion. It really isn't that good. Now, there are some bright spots that I'm going to point out, but I didn't really like this movie. I don't really like it at all, to be honest with you. I don't like the Amazing films. I don't think they really aren't that good of Spider-Man films, but I am going to go through the positives real quick. Jamie Foxx's role of Electro, I really enjoyed a lot. In my opinion, he's the best thing out of the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I really like his performance. I really like how energetic he is and how over the top he is as the character of Max Dillon, aka Electro. Jamie Foxx is a good actor. You know, go watch Django Unchained for proof of that. He's a really good actor, and he does a good job in the role of Electro. Every time he's on screen and every time he goes over the top as the character, I think it's hilarious, and he just, in a good way, he just does a really good job, and he makes the movie fun to watch, because the rest of this movie, man, but yeah, he makes this movie fun to watch. He's really good in his role. He actually makes Electro cool to me, and I've never been a fan of Electro in the comics, but he actually makes Electro cool to me. I like his look as the blue Electro, because if you guys don't know, in the comics, his look is inspired by the Ultimate Comics version of Electro, so that's why he looks blue. Other positives I'm going to give this film, believe me, there's not too many. I like the costume. The costume is really cool. It's very comic book accurate. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man costume in this movie. I like it a lot. Of course, the Tobey one is my favorite from the original movies. It's iconic. It's comic accurate, but it's also very unique. It's got the white webbing, but it also respects the comics. This one is even more comic accurate than Tobey's. Not saying it's better, but it does have a more comic accuracy, I guess, to it. I really like the suit. Of course, Tobey's still my favorite, but I do really, really like the suit. Other positives I can give it. Okay, the swinging is cool. I like Andrew Garfield's web swinging. I think he's got the swinging down. Really good acrobatics in the movie. Of course, Tobey's swinging is still my favorite, but I do like Andrew Garfield's swinging. I gotta give him credit for that. The swinging is really good in the first movie. It really gets you into it. You can tell Andrew Garfield is really acrobatic, and like he's really good with what he's doing. What else? I like the web shooters. Web shooters are cool. It's cool to see those in the Spider-Man movie, because we didn't... Not that I'm complaining. I like the organic weapon with Tobey, but it's cool to see the web shooters. You know, it's a cool thing if you read the books. It's just cool to see. I like the soundtrack to this movie. The soundtrack is really, really good. The dun 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 na 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 na. Like it's a good soundtrack. It's when you're exercising and you need something to boost your speed and you're exercising or whatever, or to give you more workout energy or whatever. It's a good track to listen to. It hypes you up. Of course, you know, Sam Raimi's original film score. No, Danny Elfman's original film score for the original movies is of course the best. But I do like the score. It's a really good score. It hypes you up. It's fun to listen to. And yeah, let me see. Positives. I mean, the Rhino was okay at the very end. He was fine. Rhino was cool, I guess, but we didn't see much of him. And I mean, honestly, the mech suit isn't really my favorite. But okay. I think that's all the positives I can really give for this movie. I think that's it. The web swinging, the music to the movie. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man suit. Electro, which is the best part. James Fox Electro. Oh, no. I got one more. There are a few scenes with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man that I do like. With Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, I like because there are scenes where he does feel like Spider-Man, and I do dig it. I like the scene where the kids are chasing that one kid, and he stops all the other kids, and the kid ends up breaking his like windmill he made, and I guess in science class or whatever. And Spider-Man like helps him fix it. It's like, this is a windmill, this is a wind turbine, and stuff like that. And he's like cheering the kid up. And that was cool, and I like the part where he saves Max Dillon in the beginning before he becomes Electro. He's like, you're not a nobody, Max, you're a somebody. You're not a nobody, Max, you're a somebody. I dug that scene a lot, too. It shows that Spider-Man is very inspirational. He's trying to be very encouraging. He really does care. It shows like he really does care, and I like that aspect. I felt like Andrew Garfield, to give him some credit, he did good in that scene. Trying to, like, because that's something that Spider-Man would do. He would show care to the people he saved. He would show that he actually cares. It's not like Iron Man where he saves a guy and he flies away. Spider-Man would actually show that he cared about the guy he saved, and he would try to help build him up, and I like that. This is a core aspect of Spider-Man that's true to this character, and I think Andrew captured that in a couple of scenes. I also like the scene where Spider-Man's trying to talk down Electro, and he's trying to calm him down and like trying to ease the situation, but then that stupid sniper just like snipes Electro when it all goes to heck. I like that a lot too, and he's like, yo, Sparkles and stuff like that, and he's saying like, no one's gonna hurt you, we're gonna take care of you. I like that, because I feel like Spider-Man would act like that. He would try to diffuse the situation, and I like that scene. But, again, those are only a few scenes in the movie, so that's all the good aspects I have. Andrew Garfield does a good job in some scenes, but that's all of the good aspects. Let's stare into why this movie isn't really that good in a lot of ways. So, first off, Emma Stone, who I liked in the first one, I didn't like her a lot in this one. She, the lovey-dovey romance gets a little too much for me in this. It gets borderline kind of annoying in some places. I don't like the whole, I love you, Peter, I love you, Gwen, will they, won't they? It gets annoying, and it gets kind of tiresome for me, and I don't know. With Mary Jane and Peter Parker and Tobey in the original ones, they had the romance stuff, but it wasn't as on the nose, and I think that's the problem I have with this one. It's so on the nose. I mean, yeah, they were dating at the time, so it makes sense. Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, but it's so on the nose that it gets annoying at times, and I'm like, okay, can we just stop with all the lovey-dovey stuff? I'm really getting kind of tired of it at this point. I don't know, when they're like in that scene where they're like walking to each other, talking and stuff, and it's like, don't do the nose thing, you can't break my ground rules, you know what I'm talking about. When they're talking about the ground rules and everything, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, this whole lovey-dovey thing is kind of tiresome, to be honest. And then, like, there was some romantic stuff in the original movies, Spider-Man movies, but it wasn't that. I didn't feel like it was that on the nose to me. I don't know. And then I also didn't like, again, the parent plot that they have, which I'm going to get into with the first movie, about Peter Parker and his parents, being spies and yada, 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 yada. I don't, that's what I think about it. It's a bunch of yada, yada, yada. It's really a bunch of yada, yada, and yada. That's how I feel about it. It's just, I don't care about the parent plot. Like, I'm sorry. I know it was a thing in the comics. I do. But the thing is, it wasn't a big part of the books. It wasn't a big part of the comics. So I don't know why they choose to focus on it in these movies. I don't care. I'm not trying to be mean. This is how I feel. I don't care about the parent plot. I don't care about the fact that he had to go to a train station and he put a coin in and he finds this magical underground train. He's able to figure out his origin that way with his dad talking to him on a computer. And it's like, this isn't Spider-Man to me. Like, what are we doing here, And Peter Parker in this movie, he just is so obsessed with it and it gets so annoying. Like, he's like, oh, my parents. And it's like, we get it, buddy. You miss your parents. You want to know more. But, oh, man, I couldn't stand it at times. Like, it was just so beat you over the head with it type of thing. And it's like, dude, you got to get over this at some point. But thankfully, they do wrap it up in this movie. And it's done over. And it's not that it's entirely bad. It's just, maybe if it was handled better, I would like it. But it's just not interesting. And it's just boring. And it takes away from Spider-Man himself in a way. Because I just don't want to focus on that plot. I don't. But I have to because I'm watching this movie. And then, I wonder some other negatives. Okay, there are some other negatives in this. Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. I still don't like his Peter Parker. Spider-Man's a little better. His Peter Parker still wasn't that good, though. I don't like him. Not the actor. I'm talking about the character and the way he's written. I don't like that he looks like a hipster with his Thrasher t-shirt in the beginning. I don't like that at all. With the white skateboard. I also don't like I get what they're trying to do in the movie. Sorry, that's my cat over there. I get what they're trying to do in the movie with the whole, because he keeps seeing, Gwen's father's ghost the whole time. And they're trying to do the thing, like in the original movies, which they did way better, where it was if I'm Spider-Man, I'm going to put her in danger. I can't do this. I can't, because, that's the thing with Spider-Man in the comics, because when he's Spider-Man, he, the whole thing in the movies and in the comics is, if I'm Spider-Man and my girlfriend knows about this, she's going to be put into danger. My enemies are going to come after me. And they're going to, not only kill me, possibly, but they're going to kill her if they know I'm Spider-Man. If they know Peter Parker's Spider-Man, they're going to come after me and they're going to come after my girlfriend. And that's the end of it. She'll die and it'll be all my fault. And that's not responsible, because with great power comes great responsibility. And they try to do that in Spider-Man 2, sidetrack. They do it so much better in that movie. But in this movie, it could have been good, but they messed it up because it's apparently Peter has done this to Gwen about 6 times. He apparently dates her, but then he's like, no, I can't because, your father wants me to stay away from you, but I love you, but then my father wants me to stay away from you. So then it's on and on, he goes with her, he breaks up with her, he goes on with her, he breaks up with her, because he cannot make a decision. And I can see why Gwen's annoyed. I can see why Gwen's annoyed with him, because I wouldn't want to put up with this either if I were in her situation. I would honestly be cool, which I'm not gay, of course, but I'd totally be dumping him for this. This shit doesn't make him come off sympathetic, it makes him come off as annoying. And I get why she would want to break up with him. Why would you want to put up with that? You get back with her, because you want to be with her, but then you're like, no, I can't put her in danger. And I like that aspect, I do. Because they did that in Spider-Man 2, where because she knows he's Spider-Man from the first Amazing movie. So she knows he's Spider-Man, and so because he knows he's Spider-Man, Peter Parker, he's like, okay, she's going to be put in danger. She's going to be in really bad condition. If my villains, I got enemies, and they're going to come after you. And, I made that promise to your dad in the first movie that I wouldn't be around you. And that would be really, really good if it were handled well, but it's not, because he can't, make a decision and stick with it. No, he keeps going back and forth. He's like, I want to honor your father, but I love you, so I'm going to be with you. I know I said my villains are going to come after you, they might kill you, but I don't care. I love you. But no, I can't do that. I got to go. I can't do this, because, you're my villains. They're going to come kill you. But no. Actually, they are going to kill you, but I still love you. You're really good looking. But no, I can't, because my villains are going to... And it's back and forth, and it's handled in such an annoying way. It's like, what are you guys doing? Okay, so... That complaint, too. What else? There's more. Here's a big one. Green Goblin in this movie, man. Cue the face palm. Green Goblin in this movie, man. I like Dane DeHaan, the actor. Got nothing against the dude. He was awesome in Chronicle. God, but his Harry Osborn he is worse than Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. I'm not even kidding you. He's so whiny, and he's such a crybaby at times that when you hear about the fact that he has a virus and he's going to die from it, I just don't care. I really don't care that he'll die from this virus. Because I can't stand his whining in this movie. So his story in the movie, for those of you who don't know, he gets his Norman Osborn, which, here's another thing I don't like. Norman Osborn has this virus called hyperplasia, whatever. I'm not even going to think about the whole name, because that's how dumb it is. Hyperplasia, something. He has a goblin disease. So Norman Osborn has goblin disease. Harry's father. He dies from the disease, because apparently it's a hereditary thing in their family, or whatever. It's a hereditary disease. So, Norman Osborn dies of the goblin disease. He tells Harry that, hey, you also have this disease, but here's all my work. You can go try to cure yourself and whatever. And so basically, and that's basically what Harry tries to do, but he learns through his father's research, Norman Osborn's research on how to cure his goblin disease, because now Harry has it because it's hereditary, that he's going to need Spider-Man's blood. And basically, which is already dumb enough, because if you look at the last movie, something like that happened in the first movie, and, a guy turned into a lizard. So and it's he's just such a whiner, because the whole movie he's like, oh, I need your blood, Peter. I'm going to die, Peter. you're a fraud, Spider-Man, man. Like, that's his whole character. That's literally Harry Osborn's whole character in this movie. He's just like, Peter, or actually, I'm gonna do a better impression actually, because that's what Peter. I need your blood, Peter. Peter, I need your blood. Peter, give me your blood, Peter. And it's just like, he's like, don't turn your back from me. And then there's a scene where he's trying to convince Spider-Man to, because he doesn't know Peter's Spider-Man yet, but he tries to convince him to give him his blood or whatever. And so then when Spider-Man says no, he throws a 5-year-old tantrum. And he goes like, you're a fraud, Spider-Man. Yeah. Yeah. And you know how Jamie Foxx is over the top, but he's funny? This is just cringy. Like, it's funny, but in a cringe way. I don't know what Dana Holm was thinking with this character performance. I don't know what was going on. And when he finally becomes the Green Goblin, it only gets worse because he doesn't even look like the Green Goblin. He looks like a guy who's stricken with green acne. And here's the thing, I don't like the Holland films either, and I don't like Amazing Spider-Man 1. But the one thing I've always taken out of these movies, even if I don't like the Spider-Man movies, they always have good villains. Like, even Spider-Verse had the Kingpin. Like, that was cool. I've liked all the Spider-Man villains so far, even Sandman, even Electro and Lizard. But, like, man, he is the worst live-action Spider-Man villain ever. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Ever. He's the worst Spider-Man villain ever. And I like Dana Hahn as an actor. I'm not trying to crap on him, but it's just his performance, man. Peter, when you said Spider-Man said no, you meant you said no. You know, when it's like just, I could have done a better impression, but it's just so, it's so bad. Like, he looks like a guy with green acne. It's not even, he's green acne. He's not Green Goblin. He's green acne. Or Green Goonie, or whatever you want to call him. That's not Green Goblin. I don't know what that was. He looks like a mutated guy who hadn't, like, brushed his teeth. He looks like he hasn't brushed his teeth in forever. That's why his teeth is green. And then, like, his whole body is just so misshapen, and it's just, like, it's so bad. Oh, that's terrible. So, parent plot, what about Andrew Garfield? Okay, let's go back to Andrew Garfield. His Peter Parker just isn't good. I'm going to get into this more on the first one, but his Peter Parker's just not good at all. I just don't relate to him. He's too cool. He's not nerdy like the other Peter Parker. Not like Tobey. Not like Tobey at all. He's very betrayed. He's cool. I'm going to dig into this in the first movie more, but he just acts like the cool guy, and he can't make a decision, and it's like about Gwen and him being together, and a bunch of it's all just this lovey-dovey Gwen stuff, and then, I mean, there's a scene where it should be good, but it's not, where Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is trying to, I'm sorry guys, I'm blanking. He's trying to, like, take back the Oscorp serum from the stolen truck that the Rhino, guy who plays the Rhino took and stole, and he's trying to stop the Rhino, and he keeps quipping, and the quips are funny, but if you notice, while he's quipping, and once he's done quipping, cars are getting wrecked in the street. Like, people are dying while he's making quips. I'm not the only one who's pointed this out, but I've noticed, I'm like, man, he isn't saving any life at all. He's letting them all die. Like, bro, what are you doing? He only saves one person, which is Max. All these other cars are getting crashed, or people are just randomly dying. You just assume that people are randomly dying while he's making quips. And it's like, it's more like the irresponsible Spider-Man than the responsible Spider-Man. The mediocre, irresponsible Spider-Man. That's what I would call it. Man, what else? I'm sure I could think of more negatives, but this film just makes so many stupid decisions, just like the first one. It's not a good Spider-Man film. It's a touch above the Holland ones, but only by a touch. It doesn't even compare to freaking Tobey Maguire's movies or Spider-Verse or Venom or any of those. It's just so many decisions in this movie are dumb. There are a couple good things in it, and the one thing I forgot to mention is the death of Gwen Stacy is really good. I liked it a lot, and I did feel for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I felt bad for him. I did feel sad, and I felt sympathetic. That's probably the only time I really felt sympathetic for him, but I did feel bad for him in that moment, and that was a really well-handled scene, the death of Gwen Stacy. So, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think I've covered almost everything I wanted to. Maybe I'll hit these up again to rant about them more, I don't know, but Amazing Spider-Man 2 gets shoot, it's not a high score, I'm going to already tell you that right now. I'm going to give it a 2. I'm giving this a 2, because Jamie Foxx really brings up the performance in this movie. He's the best thing in this movie. You know, maybe I just don't ever feel the urge to watch this movie. Like, there's some good stuff in it, but it does not outweigh the bad. You know what? No. Man, this is hard. I think... Yeah, I'm going to stick with the 2. I'm sticking with the 2 on this, because there's some good stuff in here. The Gwen Stacy death is pretty awesome. I like that. It was handled well. The final battle... Okay, that's fair. The 2 battles with Electro were cool. Maybe... I don't know. Maybe I'll give this like a 2... I don't know, like a 2.2 or something. 2.3. Or a 2. Maybe I should just stick it to 2. You know what? I'll be fair. I'll give it a 2.2. We'll do a 2.2. Because I do like those battles with Electro. I like some scenes with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. His Spider-Man's actually handled a little better in this. We're going to get to the first one, which I think is even worse than this one now that I rewatched them, because Jamie Foxx really steals the show in this movie, and he makes the movie fun. Because every other time, everybody's depressed, or someone's sad about something, or it's about his parents, and I'm like, I just don't care. At the end of the day, I just don't care about this movie. Jamie Foxx does save it for me a little bit, and there are some good action sequences in here, but no. Amazing Spider-Man 2 gets a 2.2 for me. Really low. Doesn't compare to the Tobey films. A touch above Holland's, but yeah, not that impressive. You don't need to rewatch these. You're good. My opinion, if you get offended, I mean, that's up to you. But again, it's my opinion. If you have different ones, you can totally leave comments. But again, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to be a jerk. I'm just being honest here with how I feel about these movies. I just don't feel they're up to the standard of what we got previously. Even when I was... Well, actually, when I was younger and I first saw it, I loved it. But I was also 14 back then. So, you know, what does a 14-year-old know? But yeah. So, Amazing Spider-Man 2, I guess if I had to rank them, would be the 8th Spider-Man. It would be, right? Yeah, the 8th Spider-Man movie and the ones that I'm not even going to say it's my favorite, because it's really not. It's the 8th Spider-Man movie in the ranking system. So, yeah. Okay. Because at this point, for me, we get to the ones I'm not really a fan of, and I'm going to probably refrain from saying favorite from now on, because we're really getting into the low-tier stuff now. Okay, so, Amazing Spider-Man... Sorry, guys, I gotta move back and forth here. Okay. The Amazing Spider-Man 1, right? Before the second one. Now, I put 2 above 1 because I felt like Andrew Spider-Man was a little bit better in a few scenes, not by a lot. I like Jamie Foxx's Electro a little more than Lizard. Jamie Foxx made it fun for me. And, I don't know, like the parent stuff wasn't... Maybe it was more unbearable than the first one. I don't know, but I just put it a little bit above this one. But this one goes behind it because, man, his Spider-Man, it was a little better in the second one. But, man, in here, I can't tell. They're both equally pretty bad, honestly. His Peter and Spider-Man, I'm going to be honest here, they're both equally bad in this movie. And this movie is so dark and serious that the second one had a little humor, and it felt a little more like Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's kind of a lighthearted character. This one is trying to be the Dark Knight of the Amazing Spider-Man movie. And for those of you who don't know, I don't like the Dark Knight. I'm sorry. I'm not even a fan of Batman. I just really don't like the Dark Knight. Bad Fleck forever, you know. And this movie, Ben Affleck's Batman, by the way. That's what I meant by that. Bad Fleck forever. But this movie tries to take itself so seriously, and it goes in the far wrong direction. No, you know what? Positives, right? We're going to start with my positives first, and I'll rip into this. So... Positives. I like the suit. I really, really, really dig and like the costume. I know people hate this costume, but as a suit, I like it. It's very unique. It's very a unique look. It's very different. It's like a Spider-Man Begins kind of suit, and I kind of dig it for that. I like the long spider symbol. And if you notice, Ben Reilly's Spider-Man if you read the comics, he has a similar outfit compared to this costume right here. Let's see if let me see a little bit of the back here. He has a similar costume to it with the blue fingertips and everything and the long spider. It's very similar to Ben Reilly's outfit in the comics, and I respect it for that. It seems like they might have taken some inspiration from that, or maybe they didn't. I don't know. But, okay, anyways, costume is awesome. Or it's pretty good, at least. Definitely Maguire's is better. It's always going to be better. I'm just going to lay that out there for you guys. And for me, at least. What else? Soundtrack. The soundtrack is good. I like the... I like the soundtrack in this too. It's really, really good. It's very fun to listen to. It really hypes you up. The soundtrack is awesome. Um, Soundtrack is really good. I like it. Um, the side characters are better in this than the second movie. I'll be honest. Some of the side characters are better. I like Emma Stone in this movie. I don't like her in the second one. I like her in this one because in the second one she acts all lovey-dovey and it gets annoying. It's not an Emma Stone. It's just the character. I like her in this one though. She's a good side character, and I like her Gwen Stacy. She's kind-hearted. She's cool. I like her. I like Gwen Stacy in this movie. She's kind-hearted. She's cool. She's kind of there for Peter, and I kind of respect it and I dig it. She's very, I guess she's accurate to the character. I haven't read a lot of Gwen Stacy comics, but she feels pretty accurate to the character anyways. Emma Stone gives a good performance, so I like her in that. I really like Flash Thompson in this movie. I think he would make a great Agent Venom. After watching this movie, I want this dude to be Agent Venom. He looks like he could pull off an Agent Venom movie. Imagine if Sony brings him in when they're done with Eddie Brock and Venom, which I hope they're not for a long time. I talked about how much I love the Venom movies with Tom Hardy. If they do an Agent Venom movie, I'm down to see him as Eddie Brock, whoever this actor is. I don't know the name. But I dug him as Flash. I actually like him better as Flash than I do in the Raimi movies. Like Raimi, the original Flash in the first Spider-Man movie, the original Flash in the first Spider-Man movie was cool, but I really like this dude as Flash in this movie, The Amazing Spider-Man. He did a good Flash, and he's way better than the other guy in the Holland movies. I'm sure the guy's a cool dude and a good actor, but I don't see his Flash as that intimidating in the newer movies. But I like Flash in this movie. The side characters are cool. In all honesty, now of course, the Aunt and Uncle Ben and the original movies are my favorite because they just did their roles perfectly and they looked exactly like the characters. In the original Tobey Maguire films, the Aunt and Uncle Ben just looked accurate to their characters and they did such a good job. But I liked Martin Sheen, and I think it's... Oh man, I'm blanking on her name right now. Not Rosemary Harris, that was the other one. But yeah, Sally Fields. Sally Fields is her name. I liked Martin Sheen and Sally Fields as Uncle Ben and Aunt May in this. I actually liked them a good amount. They did a good job with their roles. They felt like they were kind of an older couple with some issues, but at the end of the day, they still loved each other. Like, they got onto each other like most couples will, but they still loved each other at the end of the day. And I dug that. I dug their Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Not as good as the original movies, but it's still good. I gotta give them credit for that. Man, what are some other good side characters? The swinging is also good in this. I like the swinging in this. Not as good as the second Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it's still pretty good. It's decent. That's what I can say about it. Again, I'm thinking I'm running out of positives now. The suit, the swinging, side characters, the musical score. I think that's it, guys. Now we're going to rip into this and why I just do not like this movie at all. Much like the second one, I think this one's a little worse. Because Peter Parker in this movie, it's apparent in the second one, but in this one, it's who boy. Goodness gracious. Okay, so is Peter Parker. I don't like him at all. He is bad. He is just... I do not like this Peter Parker. I'm not on Andrew Garfield. I'm sure Andrew Garfield's a cool dude. I liked him in No Way Home. Yeah, okay. Okay, anyways. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll put a spoiler in the description before. Yeah. Anyways, I liked him in. It's Peter. Okay, it is Peter Parker. Getting back on track here. I lost my train of thought. His Peter Parker, I don't like at all. His Peter Parker acts very much like a hipster to me. He just acts like one of those guys, not a nerd, but like one of those hipsters you see walking around who likes to wear glasses and likes to pretend he's smart. Like, that's the vibe I get from him. He's not born smart like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but he's like a hipster who puts on glasses, who pretends to know it all. I'm not saying that Spider-Man isn't smart. He obviously is. He invented his web shooters. Man, there's just this vibe about him that I don't like and I don't sit well with. I'm sure he's smart, but he acts like those guys who, when they put on glasses and they think they're automatically really smart and they know everything, and I don't like that idea. He just is very hipsterish. He's too cool. You can tell the ladies would obviously love this dude. I don't know, man. He's just too cool and he's too hip for me. I don't like the skateboarding stuff. I don't like how he's kind of a jerk in some ways, because there's tons of scenes where, man, it's so cringe. There's this cringe scene in the movie where he's talking to Gwen Stacy's dad about something, and like, you're meeting this girl for the first time, right? And you're meeting her dad, and you're thinking like, I want to make a good impression on her so she'll like me. But this dude goes just, I don't know what his problem was. Him and his dad start debating about Spider-Man because Gwen Stacy's dad, he sees Spider-Man as a vigilante, right? So then Peter's like, well, I don't see him that way. Well, he doesn't say it like that, but he's like, I don't see him that way. I see him as providing a public service. And he goes, son, let me tell you something. This guy's not a public servant. He's a vigilante. He's not saving people. He's beating up bad guys. And Spider-Man's like, well, I disagree. I mean, if you look at YouTube, you look at yada yada yada. If you look at YouTube and stuff, you'll see that he's not a bad guy. And he knows, I don't think. And he says something like, literally insults her father, like right in front of her. Captain Stacy's like, what? You think we just sit around doing nothing all day? And then Spider-Man's like, Andrew Garfield's like, I don't think the cops are doing enough. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you do this in front of a girl that you like? Why would you insult her father with a girl that you like right in front of her? And I know he's not trying to, but man, that scene made me cringe. And then there's a scene where like he reveals this identity to Gwen by like when she walks away, he webs her and he pulls her near him, and because he's like, I'm so cool and I'm so hip because that's Peter Parker. And goodness, this movie. Yeah, it's Peter Parker. A hipster. He's not a nerd. He's too cool. Kind of a jerk. And there's one scene where he gets home, and Aunt May's getting on to him. He's acting like an emo about it, with his hoodie over his head, melted over a table. It's like, hey, Peter, get the eggs, and they're having a little argument. Like, I'll go get them right now. And I get he's a teenager at this point, but he just bugs me. I don't know what to say. And then he's like, Peter, I want to know where you are. And he's like, please go to sleep. He yells like, please go to sleep on me. He's like, I can't sleep. And it's like, he yells at his Aunt May. He embarrasses his girl that he likes and insults her father. And then what else? He does something else that's kind of annoying. I don't like. The guy's just a jerk, honestly. Like, the character is just portrayed as, I'm not saying Andrew Garfield's a jerk. Okay, I'm not talking about the actor. I'm talking about the character in this movie. The people who wrote him just portray him as this kind of unlikable jerk who only cares about vigilantism, and it's just, that's not Spider-Man to me. Spider-Man is warm-hearted, he's kind, and Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker, does mature later on in the movie, and that's a positive that I forgot. A positive was, there were some scenes in the movie I really, really liked. Two, specifically, the car scene. Car scene was dope. I'm not gonna lie, I liked the car scene. Him saving the kid from the car was cool. I can't deny that it wasn't. It was a good turning point for Spider-Man when he saved the kid. He's like, hey, Jack, climb, I can save you. And he, like, saves the kid, brings him to his father, and he realizes, I need to be more of a hero. I need to be responsible. I can't just go out attacking random people. So I'm going to be the actual hero. And that was a good scene. And I like the scene also where, man, I'm blanking again. This movie makes me just, like, I struggle to remember stuff. For the original movies, I'm like, snap, I can remember that scene instantly. But this movie, I'm struggling. There's this other scene in the movie. I can't even remember what it is. There's a scene I kind of liked. Oh, the small knife scene. That was kind of a funny scene, and I dug it. I dug that scene. I also dug the crane scene where he's swinging along the cranes. And I like the fun battle with the lizard. Two things real quick. One thing is, the whole Uncle Ben story, right? So this bugs me. Really, 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 really bugs me. And the same problem I have with the freaking Holland movies is where, at first, he's going after his uncle's killer, right? Because the same thing happens in this movie that happens in the other one. He goes after his uncle's killer. At first, he's tracking him down. But then he just, like, instantly stops trying to find him. And I'm like, what? Like, I get that you learn to be more responsible and you don't want to just attack a vigilante anymore. But this is your uncle. Like, aren't you going to finish through this already? And I'm just sitting here like, and he doesn't, and we never find any resolution to him finding his uncle's killer, like in the last original movies. And it's like, Spider-Man would have tried to at least find his killer. Like, you're not even going to do that. And I get it in the movie. He is irresponsible first. Gwen's father convinces him, you need to be more of a hero. And then the bridge scene happens, and he kind of becomes the Spider-Man we all know and kind of love, I guess, whatever. But still, it's like, you're not even going to attempt to still find your uncle's killer. Like, come on, man. Oh, and the lizard. I like the lizard in this movie. For what he is in the movie, I like him. He's fine. I'm not a big lizard fan, but I like him in the movie. The villain's cool. I actually like his look. I wish it was more lizard-like, but again, I'm not a big fan of the lizard, so his performance was fine. I didn't mind it. I liked the lizard. He was probably one of the better parts of this movie. And what else? I don't like the universe or setting this is in. Like, I don't like how... One thing I forgot to mention in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I don't like how Oscorp is tied into everything in this movie. In these movies, it feels so lazy. Like, I get it that in the Ultimate Comics, Peter Parker was bitten by a spider created at Oscorp, and that's how he got his powers in the Ultimate Comics. And I know they're doing that here, but they tie everything to Oscorp, like everything. The Sinister Six, that was teased at the end of 2, which never happened. Freaking Green Goblin, Lizard, Electro, they're all tied to Oscorp, and it feels so lazy. Like, God, that's so lazy. I'm sorry, but it is lazy. Like, and... Oh, yeah, the parent plot. I forgot about the parent plot. So, that plays a big role in this, too, and it's just as boring, if not more so, in this one than in the last one. Peter is, like, all upset about his parents, and, like, he gets into an argument with Uncle Ben about why his dad or mom weren't here or whatever, and it's like, I mean, who cares? Like, that's all I gotta say. Who really cares? So, you know what? I'm gonna end this one. The Amazing Spider-Man gets a... You know what? I gave the other one 2.2, right? I'm gonna give this one... I'm gonna give it a 1 point... Yeah, that doesn't really make sense, does it? A 2.3 and then a 1... Whatever, it's my ranking system. I'm going to give it a 1.5. Yeah, because, look, I know that's a bit of a... Because I gave the Amazing Spider-Man 2 like a 2.3, which isn't much better, but that one at least had Jamie Foxx being awesome and being hilarious, and then it had some better Spider-Man moments in here. One thing I never forgot to mention... wait, I got one more thing. Spider-Man, right? His Spider-Man, everybody keeps saying the Spider-Man was good, and you can debate that, I think, for TASM too. But in this one, he really isn't that much better than Peter. He really is. Spider-Man's personality in this whole movie is just swinging around and then attacking the lizard. Like, yeah, he gets one scene where he quips, and then he has that car scene, but that's it. That is all you get from Spider-Man in this movie. And I thought the scenes in TASM 2 were a little better with Spider-Man in a way. He felt more, I don't know, jovial, I guess. But yeah, in this one, you get like 2 scenes where he kind of feels like Spider-Man, but that's it. He's just kind of a blank... Spider-Man, other than swinging, is kind of a blank piece of wood. Like, he has no personality. He's just there to, like, fight the lizard, and that's it. So yeah, I'm done. Amazing Spider-Man gets a 1.5. I give Amazing Spider-Man 2, I still stand by my 2.3. It might change, I don't know. But Electro was fun in that movie. I liked his Spider-Man a little bit better in that other movie, even though the side characters weren't that good. But Spider-Man was a little bit better. I don't know, his suit was cooler. And the movie felt a little more lighthearted with humor, which is how Spider-Man would feel. This just feels way too dark and depressing. I don't like this movie. It gets a 1.5 for me. So Amazing Spider-Man 2, 2.3. Amazing Spider-Man 1.5. Honestly, I think I probably should bring down Amazing Spider-Man 2 a little lower. But I already graded it, so we're just going to stick with the 2.3. This Amazing Spider-Man gets a 1.5. Okay, now we get to the very bottom of the barrel. And that was already pretty much at the bottom with those movies. Okay, so I don't own the copies for Homecoming and No Way Home. I'm going to let my hand rest a little bit. It's tiring holding my phone like that, guys. We're coming close to the end of the video. Okay, so I don't own Homecoming and I don't own No Way Home. I don't own Homecoming and I don't own Far From Home. So I don't own those, and there's a reason as to why. But I did see them in theaters. I'm just going to give you my recollected thoughts on when I saw them for the first time. Homecoming, it was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty bad. Honestly, in some ways, they're kind of even with the Garfield movies for me. I like Tom Holland. He seems like a good actor. Spider-Man, I will say, he's Peter Parker. Give Holland some credit. Is more likable than Andrews by far. Like, it's way more likable. But there are so many problems with those newer movies. Like, they do things that might be even worse than what was in the Amazing Spider-Man films. Uncle Ben plays no presence whatsoever, which is a big red flag for me. He doesn't play a presence in the first movie whatsoever. No mention, no reference. I don't know what the deal is with that. uh, Uncle Ben has always been a core characteristic of Spider-Man, and people are always like, I don't want to see the death again, but that's a core characteristic of his character. That is a core characteristic of Spider-Man and his character in the comics. You can't leave that out. Maybe, at very least, they should have made like a reference to it, but no, they don't. They completely ignore Uncle Ben. Like, what the heck, guys? Like, really? No reference to Uncle Ben, no nothing, no, like, oh, I miss my Uncle Ben so much or whatever. No, none of that. It's just, he's completely ignored. There's no, I know people are tired of his death scene, but it's necessary. It is necessary, you guys. You have to at least have a reference to that. That's the core of his character, and to just ignore that is a spit in the face, honestly. And then, okay, what else? Tom Holland is Spider-Man, likable, yes, but that doesn't mean he's a good Spider-Man, because, God, all the tech suits he wears, I'm not a fan of it at all. I don't like the fact that he did. Now, he has made his own suit. I'll give him credit there, but he just relies on all these tech gadgets, and it gets annoying. And and again, life is just so easy for this guy, and that is my biggest drawback with Holland Spider-Man. He has no struggles. Everything is paid for him. Uncle Tony Stark, his new Uncle Ben, practically gives him everything he wants, and he has no responsibilities. He has life so easy. He can't. Stuff is just handed to him. That's not how Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, that's probably how mine and other people's lives are. But that's not how Spider-Man's life is. You don't just hand him stuff. He works to get his own stuff. He earns his own stuff. That's not how Spider-Man is, guys. Like, what are you doing? I like seeing him and Iron Man together. That was cool, but that doesn't mean it was a good movie. I don't know. I think maybe Garfield might be worse. I don't really know, but but I don't know. He just gets everything handed to him. I don't like his cast of characters. The movie feels very childish. Like, it's meant for younger kids and not adults. No offense. I was 17 when I saw this, and I'm like, this feels like it was for younger people, and not people my age. Like, it didn't sit with me, man. I don't know what to say. I liked Michael Keaton as the Vulture. He was cool. I like the part where Spider-Man got his homemade suit, and I had a little hope that the movie might be good, but the thing I didn't like at all was when Spider-Man was like, refused Tony Stark's offer to join the Avengers, and Tony Stark was like, okay, kid, that's all good, you do your own thing. But then he gets the suit back, and I'm like, we were going in the right direction with him just wearing his homemade suit and doing his own thing, but then he gets like the Iron suit back, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, that's not Spider-Man. He didn't wear all that tech stuff. And then you got side characters who I just don't care about. Because at least in the TASM movies, I like the side characters for a good amount, even their main Uncle Ben. And look, Mr. Tomei, she's a good-looking lady. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But her Aunt May, I just don't care. I don't care about her Aunt May. Uncle Ben's not there. I don't care for Ned or Zendaya in this movie. I liked him better in No Way Home. I liked them way better there, but I don't like them in this movie. I don't care for them. They're just not interesting. It's very jokey. It's very MCU-ish, and if you've watched an MCU movie, it's very much like that. It's not Spider-Man to me. I don't like the side characters. I don't like any of the characters other than Michael Keaton. He's the only character I like in this movie. And yeah, it's just a disappointing movie, man. It just misses what Spider-Man's all about. There's no struggles, no consequences to his actions. Everything gets solved for him. He doesn't get in trouble for anything. He doesn't make his own suit. He has all these tech suits. And I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care about Aunt May. I don't care about Ned. I don't care about Michelle Jones. I don't care about Flash. There's something else I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what it is. I just don't care about this movie. I don't want to see this movie again. Because at least with the Amazing movie, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it to the point where like it kind of annoyed me in some ways, but also there was some stuff I liked. This movie, I just don't care. Like, I just really don't care about Spider-Man Homecoming. So, yeah. So, there was something else I wanted to point out, and I can't remember what it is. Maybe it'll come to me when I'm talking about Far From Home. But this movie gets I don't know, like Iron Man stuff was cool, Vulture was alright. You know what? Iron Man, Vulture. Would I watch it again? Probably not. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 1 point. I'm gonna give it a 1.1. 1.1 sounds fair to me, because this movie, other than Vulture, Iron Man, that's it. That really is all the movie has to offer, is Iron Man and Vulture. Come for, you know what, here's how I'm going to say this. Come for Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, stay for Michael Keaton's Vulture. That's how I'm going to end this. So yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming, 1 out of 1. Spider-Man Homecoming, 1.1 rating. Come for Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, stay for Michael Keaton's Vulture. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so we're on to our final movie, and so that would be, man, I'm losing count, guys. I don't know, like 9th or whatever. These are like the lowest movies. We're going to go with that. These are the lowest ones. Last one, Far From Home. Not much better. I don't like the side characters still. I don't like the soundtracks to either movie, and at least the Amazing films had good soundtracks. I don't like the soundtrack to this. And I don't care for Spider-Man in this either. He's just still crying over Iron Man the whole movie. And he just wants to make out with MJ the whole time. And it's like, dude, like, just go ask her out on a date. Like, stop with all this, will I, won't I? Just go do it. Like, if I like a girl, I'll go ask her out. Like, why are we going through this will they, won't they thing? Like, I don't know what this whole thing is. I just forgot how bad these movies can be. And then, I still am not a fan of Zendaya, or I'm not a fan of Michelle Jones or Ned. I'm not a fan of the side characters. I could care less about Aunt May, because she's not even in this movie that much. I like Marisa Tomei, nice looking lady, but still. I don't like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's very boring. I don't care about all his suits and stuff. He doesn't face any consequences. He does get framed by Mysterio at the end, which is the one, you know what, fine. That was a good part, where he gets framed by Mysterio at the end, and I mean, that's cool, because it leads into a far better movie after this one. Shoot. Mysterio is cool. Mysterio was awesome. I liked him a lot. Jake Gyllenhaal does a good job, from what I can remember. The battle was fine, I guess. I don't really remember that much from it. Something about drones and a bridge. That's how much I don't care about these movies, because at least with TASM, right, I can remember the awesome Electro fight at the end. That Electro fight was cool with TASM 2, and Jamie Foxx was great. But this one, I'm blanking. I'm like, something about a drone scene, and then, I don't know, Mysterio's involved somehow. You know what? Yeah, we're just going to end it here, guys. I got nothing to say about this movie. This movie gets, Spider-Man Far From Home gets, oh yeah, and he's also just very whiny, and just like, I want to be the next Iron Man, and that's not something Spider-Man would say, and it's just, Spider-Man Far From Home gets a 1. Just a 1, because that's how I feel about the movie. It's a 1. Homecoming gets 1.1, I guess, because Iron Man's in it or something. This one gets a 1. So guys, yeah, anyways, guys, that was my reviews of all my Spider-Man movies. Sorry, the last two I got a little kind of angry a little bit and kind of annoyed, but I just really don't like the newer. Now, No Way Home did redeem Tom Holland. I am 9 out of 10 movie. It redeemed everything about the Homecoming Far From Home for me. It actually redeemed a lot about his character. I actually care about his character now. I care about Tom Holland's Spider-Man now after this movie. He is no longer he is Iron Boy Jr. in those two movies. I'm not going to take that back. But he is Spider-Man in this movie. You need to go see No Way Home. But yeah, to go over my rankings real quick before we end this video and before I'm done. One last time. Okay, Spider-Man 1 is best to worst, right? Spider-Man 1 is my favorite. 10 out of 10. Spider-Man 3 is my second favorite Spider-Man movie. 9 out of 10. Spider-Man 3 is my third favorite. Gosh, guys. Okay, let me go over this again. Spider-Man, my rankings, right? From best to worst. Spider-Man 1 is my favorite movie, right? 10 out of 10 movie for me. Spider-Man 3 is my second favorite movie. 9 out of 10. Spider-Man 2 is my third favorite Spider-Man movie. Yep. 8.9 out of 10. Venom is my fourth favorite Spider-Man movie. 10 out of 10. Venom Let There Be Carnage is my fifth favorite Spider-Man movie. 9 out of 10. Spider-Man No Way Home is my sixth favorite movie. 9 out of 10. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is my seventh favorite movie. 8.5 out of 10. My eighth favorite movie is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. 2.2 out of 10. Amazing Spider-Man 1 is my ninth favorite movie. 1.1 out of 10. No, I mean, yeah, 1 point something out of. Honestly, they're the lower movies. Okay, so something it had a 1 or something, like a 1.5 or something. Homecoming then goes in with a 1.1, I believe. Yeah, and then Far From Home gets 1 because that's like my least favorite. So yeah, I'm sorry I messed up on the rankings, guys. I got a little confused because there's a lot to keep up with, and I can't. It's hard to like memorize them all that well, but I'm gonna put my rankings in every description I make of these videos, so y'all can see my rankings with the descriptions. But yeah, that's been a good video. Other than like the last part where I had to discuss the amazing films and the Holland movies, or the first two, I liked it. I love the Rami films. I love the Venom movies. I love Spider-Verse, and I really loved No Way Home. So, and you know the other films, yeah, who cares? Like that's just how I feel about those other movies. I mean, granted, the amazing films have some okay stuff in them, and I'm kind of growing on them a little. Actually, no, I'm taking that back. I'm not growing on them. What am I talking about? But yeah, I take that back. They're still pretty bad. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed my reviews of my rankings of all the Spider-Man movies. If you got other opinions and you want to post down your rankings, you totally can. I'll totally answer your comments, and I'm cool with whatever you got, whatever your rankings are. I'll disagree, but that's what we do. We agree to disagree. That being said, if you're offended by my opinions and you're upset and angry, I don't know what to do about that. So you're just gonna have to get over it. But anyways, that's my video, and I hope you guys have a good day. Catch you later. And go see Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters. Go see it. It's worth your time. Tom Holland is great this time as Spider-Man. I actually remember him better, and I actually really like his Spider-Man. And it's good. So, yeah, catch y'all later. Bye. This has been Dark Storm Comic Reviews. I'm signing off.